are thrilled to have you all here to celebrate our Home Together campaign. So, a bit about our Home Together campaign for those of you who are new to our world. This campaign spans from April to May and pays tribute to our donors, our clients, and the heartwarming stories that unite us through weekly live online events on our Facebook page. You can also catch a replay of our events on the Street Dog podcast. So today's event is part of a digital storytelling journey that celebrates the profound bond between pets and individuals experiencing homelessness. Our Home Together campaign empowers our clients to share their experiences of receiving free veterinary care from the Street Dog Coalition, and it also celebrates the impact of our donors and how their support helps both ends of the leash, keeping pets and their people happy and healthy. And for those of you who are interested in taking your relationship with us one step further, I wanted to let you know that our Home Together campaign will culminate in our first ever big week of giving from May 25th to 31st. And our goal is to raise $50,000 from our amazing supporters to continue our mission of providing free veterinary care to pets of people experiencing homelessness. So if our conversation today resonates with you, please go ahead and click the link in our show notes or go to bit.ly/Home Together 2024 and give us a donation. Let us know that you support us and, more importantly, help us protect pets of people experiencing homelessness and provide them with the veterinary care that they deserve. My last little plug here will be to let you know that our friends at Pretty Litter, a renowned health monitoring cat litter brand, will be matching all of our donations up to $15K for this campaign. So if you donate today, you can double your impact. Now, okay. All right, that part's over. That part's over. Everyone is here, settled and grounded in this exciting campaign, and I'm very, very, very honored and humbled to introduce our guest today. So today with us, we have Ned Robinson, who I've been getting to know very briefly before I hit record and we went live. So I will let Ned hold space for most of this conversation, but I just want to let our listeners know that Ned is an incredible person. Ned is, of course, a Street Dog Coalition donor. Ned is the owner of the Crate Escape, which my executive director, Katrina, and I we duly noted that is one of the coolest business names ever, the Crate Escape. And I will let Ned shine a light on Ned's business and give you more insight into that. So today we're going to discover how the support of our donors, specifically how Ned's support really transforms the lives of pets and their unhoused guardians. And it's just going to be a great, I think, really exciting, warm conversation between myself and Ned. Welcome to the podcast, Ned.
Thank you so much for having me.
The crowd goes wild. I love it. Ned, I am really, really excited to have you here. I think that in the past, so many of our conversations have been with our incredible partners in the work that we do, clients that experience the joy of having one of their pets taken care of at one of our Street Dog Coalition clinics. But we don't usually get the perspective, oh, here's my cat. She's had enough. She's leaving. Okay.
About it too.
We don't usually get the perspective of having an individual like you who has financially supported our work, but I also know that you have a stake in the animal welfare game as well. So before we talk about the Street Dog Coalition, can you maybe tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do for animals, even though you very specifically said, I just want to talk about the Street Dog Coalition. With a business name like the Crate Escape, you got inquiring minds want to know. So let us know.
Sure. Well, yeah. Thanks again for having me. Happy to be here. The Crate Escape is a small dog daycare and boarding facility in Richmond, Vermont. And we can take on about 50 dogs at a time, about 35 overnight. And we provide really specialized daycare and boarding services, a little bit of training and grooming as well. for a lot of dogs that wouldn't really make it in other facilities locally. Either they can't be grouped with big groups like 20 dogs or 30 dogs at one time, or maybe they have health issues, senior dogs, a lot of separates, we call them, or maybe are only okay with one or two other dogs. So our facility is really great for that because we have a lot of small spaces, smaller yards, and we can really personalize our care to the type of dogs that come in. So I bought the business about a year ago, been working on this project for a couple of years, spent 22 years in restaurants as a chef and restaurant manager. And for my 40th birthday, basically, I was looking for a way out of that world. So my wife and I kind of scraped together everything we had and begged, borrow, and stole the rest to come up with enough to purchase the Great Escape from the owner who had founded it 28 years ago. So we're really proud that we're able to maintain that legacy, but we're also really proud of what we're building. We've given all the employees raises. We've introduced a 401k, paid time off, paid lunch breaks. They only have to work their 8-hour day, not 8.5 anymore. Then just giving out bonuses and trying to do some charity work. So at the end of last year, we were looking for some really worthy causes to give to. And so there's another one that's very similar to the Street Dog Coalition called Project Street Vet. And so we gave them an equally sized donation as the one for Project Street Dog. Sorry, if I mix the names up, I don't mean to. And then just the local Humane Society as well.
You,
And the
you can
one,
call us whatever you want, as long as the
as long
name
as I get
on
Street
the
and Dog
check
in
is
there,
right. As long as the
there you
name
go.
on the check is right, Ned, you call us whatever you want.
Well, I luckily you make it easy to donate, so do get on that website, people, and click the links because it's super super important. But how I became turned on to the Street Dog Coalition was through my wife, Shannon. She worked for the state of Vermont and for the University of Vermont Medical Network for a while, and then got a job with a healthcare nonprofit called the Center for Healthcare Strategies. They work on all kinds of issues across the country and anything healthcare related, basically. So Medicaid expansion, providing Medicaid services, housing navigation, stuff like that. So working with communities experiencing homelessness is a big deal for the Center for Healthcare Strategies. I'm not exactly sure how Shannon became aware of this, if it was just through her own research or if someone in the company or through the nonprofit got a hold of her that way. But just loving dogs and then really caring about people experiencing homelessness, this was a no-brainer for us to kind of
Hmm.
get involved and make a donation.
Ah, that's fantastic. It's always really exciting, myself as an animal advocate, myself someone that, with whatever money I have, I try to give it to organizations that are doing meaningful work. I always find it really fulfilling to make an impact for the animals in kind of more ways than one. So I deeply appreciate how you have not only made this caretaking of animals a lifestyle and a business and a career for you, but you've of course gone above and beyond to support. um I'm sure you only mentioned just a handful of the animal welfare organizations that you support, and the working conditions of your business sound amazing. Just hard shout out to you and to that. I think that clearly you live a life that is in alignment with your values, and I just really really admire that. And one of our audience members, Trish from the Black Cat Coven Sanctuary, who was formerly a guest on our podcast, has said much needed type of facility in regards to the Crate Escape. So it's just wonderful to hear that you are really spreading the love between our organization and other organizations, and that you are covering all your bases in terms of taking care of animals. That's just awesome. And my question for you here is, when you donate to the Street Dog Coalition, or that moment that you made that first donation, and I really appreciate you saying how easy it is to donate. Yes. When you made that donation, how did you imagine that donation to impact the lives of pets of people experiencing homelessness?
Well, One thing I've learned, that I'll just say her name now, so we don't have to keep saying my wife. That Shannon taught me,
Yeah.
and that it has been evident over the years interacting with all kinds of people, is that it it's really important to retain humanity, and that's one of the most difficult things when you are experiencing homelessness. And so it's ironic, but in having a non-human companion, in having that pet, people are able to retain that humanity, and they're one step closer to maybe getting out, and that may be too simplistic, but one step closer to that feeling of normalcy, of being able to interact in society again. And so if that gets taken away, I think in a lot of cases that could be a breaking point, or could be like kind of a last straw for a lot of people. And I would never want that to happen. It's so easy to think when you see an animal with a person experiencing homelessness, of all the things that might be wrong in that animal's life or that person's life. But I, now that I've seen this business, I've got people with plenty of resources that bring in their dogs matted or muddy, or with various issues, or bring them in with kennel cough when it was obvious that the dog was coughing at home, and stuff like that. So it's not a matter of resources that makes someone a good dog caretaker. And it's just really important to remember that. And so if we can provide a bridge so that resources are no longer an issue, and I mean you, um, you know, then we can retain as a society the collective humanity of people that are far too often ignored and
Mm.
let kind of drop through the cracks. And so there's no one solution, right? There's no one fix for all of society's problems, but by chipping away at the edges, I think we can get closer to that kind of gooey center that we're all trying to get to. And hopefully this helps. And so it's what I can do, and it's what it aligns with the business. So it's a perfect match. It's helping people and it's helping dogs, and that's what I want to do. I tell the staff all the time that we're in the people business, and that the dogs, they may pay the bills, but in the end they can't understand us. They can't hear. We have to talk to the customers. We have to make the guests um, feel welcome, and that's what it's all about. And the dogs will always be there if the guests are, if the people feel welcome. So while we're in the people business, we should also be in the people kind of charitable type of mood. And so giving charity to dogs and people at the same time is just logical.
Wow. Well, that's the end of this episode. No, I'm totally joking. That was just so beautifully said and so perfect. And it, what really landed with me is, I think that before I started working at the Street Dog Coalition, I had, I was maybe skeptical of individuals experiencing homelessness with pets. There is that age old saying of like, if you can't take care of yourself, how can you take care of an animal? But of course, life is not that black and white. And when you really unpack what taking care of means, um, we start to learn, especially in the experience I've had in speaking with our clients, that oftentimes, they are taking care of themselves to the best of their ability, despite the hand they've been dealt. And they are oftentimes taking care of their pets better than a lot of individuals who aren't unhoused are. And it's very exciting. I've been reading this book. I think it's called like How Pets Make Us Human. And it talks about the history of keeping pets, the history of domesticating animals. And one of the really interesting things that I'm learning in this book is that pets used to be this status symbol. Pets used to be this, commodity for women who, pets obviously at one point helped men hunt, but after a period of time they became a commodity for women who stayed at home and a status symbol. So what I am so excited about in terms of the work that we at the Street Dog Coalition do is that we have taken this history of a pet being a luxury, a pet being a commodity, and we have really kind of turned that on its head. We've dismantled that by treating individuals who are unhoused with dignity, and honoring the relationship they have with their pet, and educating our donors and our supporters to get to this place where they no longer believe having a pet is a commodity, having a pet is a luxury. And quite frankly, we can't afford people to think that way, because there are just too many animals that need homes, and too many animals who, if they were separated from their guardians, who are oftentimes only temporarily unhoused, um, they may end up in a shelter. They may end
Right.
up
It's
in
not
a
like
worse
that's
off
better.
condition.
Yeah.
Right.
I
So,
think
yeah.
there's a philosophy that I learned, that I think really applies to this kind of situation, that you should only look in your neighbor's bowl to make sure that they have enough food, not to see if they have more food than you.
Ooh.
So we should only look at our unhoused dogs to see if they're getting enough care, not to see if they're getting more care or better care.
Mm,
You know, and it just, if we can remove judgment from it entirely, I think then that's a huge part of it, because if people are going to get judged on the way to taking their animal in for care, then they're not going to take their animal in for care.
yeah.
So remove judgment from it and make it known that no matter what condition, let's just start, and there is no judgment here, that we understand that, like, having your animal is incredibly important. So please take care of it, because it's not like we as a collective society are doing any better at taking care of our animals. There's shelters everywhere. Some of them are overflowing. We're constantly getting shipments of dogs from states in the South where breeding is a lot, or, overbreeding is a lot bigger problem. And they, load up a bus full of dogs and bring them up to Vermont. And that's where one of my dogs actually came from. So, um,
Wow.
we owe ourselves, I think, and we owe, the unhoused community a lot of, like, introspection, and to look, physician, heal thyself. Let's, before we judge anybody else, for the condition that their dog is in, let's think about what we're doing, and then just, if there is somebody who needs help, just help.
Mm. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And I think so often when we place a layer of judgment on, individuals who are experiencing financial hardships, and, their lifestyle, I think that almost speaks way more about, it speaks more about us than it does about the individual. So I really appreciate you saying that we're at this place now where we could use some introspection. We could use some dismantling of our own expectations and own beliefs around, pet ownership. And I'm curious to know, in what ways do you see the bond between unhoused individuals and their pets? How do you imagine or see that that bond is strengthened through our initiatives, through our pop-up street clinics? How is that bond strengthened by us, essentially providing veterinary care for these animals?
Well, security is everything, right? Security in your house, I mean, it's part of our constitution, in your property and effects and papers and all of those things. So the security of knowing that dog care is available for anybody would be incredibly, just what a stress relief of all the other stresses going on in someone's life who's experiencing homelessness. Um, that's to take one thing, even one thing off the plate, is a huge relief. And so
Mm.
by just providing that, I think the Street Dog Coalition is, any stress reduction for anybody. I mean, gosh, I'm just, even for me, like, is incredibly important. So I can only imagine the weight that would take off of someone's shoulders. um I can recall, so I went to cooking school in Paris. I went to Le Cordon Bleu in Paris, and right outside
Okay,
the,
just casually throwing that in there, okay.
I do like to drop it, but there is a reason why this story is important. Right outside the school, there was a gentleman and his dog who would set up just about every day. We were overflowing with food. We had cooked a full meal for 8 people every day, and couldn't possibly eat it all. And so he cleaned up. He did very nicely with, French cuisine, and I got to know him pretty well, and the dog as well. And we, I always pet the dog on the way to school and on the way back to the metro stop. And I had honestly lived probably a bit of a sheltered suburban life up to that point, and that was my first real experience, on the street. And so it was kind of just the beginning of a journey for me to that switch kind of flipped, and I started thinking about, dogs and how it relates to mental health and just the security of um, having that animal with you on the street and stuff like that. So it's just been on my mind ever since that then. And so I feel like I'm way too late to the party. And so I'm just happy 20 years later to actually have caught up and be doing something for it and to have found you. And so I think about that guy every day when I think about the Street Dog Coalition. That's like the person I think about.
Oh, man, that's amazing. That's truly wonderful, and I think it's, it's funny that you say, like, I'm late to the party, but of course you're never too late, right? And I think that so often we come across organizations who have a mission that really resonate with us at just the perfect time in our lives, right? So maybe if you would have found out about us earlier, you might not have been in the position to, or the frame of mind to lend your support in the way that you have. So we're just excited that you
It
found
that
us when you did.
That is the other part of my story is that, I'm late to the party because I really had no choice.
Yeah.
Um, for 22 years in the restaurant industry, I scraped by, barely making anything, put away no savings, got abused by bosses, abused by workplaces. I never want to do that to my people. That's one of the reasons why I treat them the way I do. But it also, I got laid off by a resort for seasonal employment unexpectedly when they decided my job one year wasn't going to stay on and had the previous year and was out of work for 3 months. I ended up at the food bank in Crested Butte, Colorado. And you're simultaneously experiencing this moment of privilege where you're living in this wonderful mountain town and surrounded by these amazing, outdoor experiences, but can't even afford enough food to live and end up at the food bank down at the church. So I've been there, maybe not as down and out as you can be. Certainly, I could have called people. I had options, and I recognize what an extreme position of privilege that was. But it's hard to make it in this world, and I know how hard it is. So I'm never going to forget that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I can't tell you. Well, first of all, thank you for sharing that story with us, and thank you for getting vulnerable with us. And I have to say there have been so many individuals I've spoken with, so many podcast guests I've spoken with who have said how they have spent a large portion of their life being one paycheck away from losing the roof over their heads, one paycheck away from not being able to feed their families. And there have been so many instances of homelessness that I have been, from our clients that I have been shocked by, from individuals who got into tragic car accidents, were in a coma in the hospital, woke up, no longer had a home, from
Yeah.
individuals who, suffered through crippling identity theft. And it is wild to me. Um, I guess maybe not so wild anymore because I've been in this work for quite some time at this point. But just when you think you've heard it all, there is another story from an individual who, deserves the world, but who had a period of time in their life where the world was slipping through their fingertips. He couldn't make ends meet. And I think that that's something that people don't really think about when they think about the Street Dog Coalition is we have this image of what it looks like to be unhoused. When the truth is, there are so many people, even in our own workplaces, people that we interact with at the grocery store who are living in an encampment, who are living in their car, and it's just it's always humbling and inspiring and heartbreaking to hear these stories. So I appreciate you sharing your experience because it just reaffirms how homelessness does not look one way, how our clients don't all most of them don't fit into any kind of mold. They're all different ages, different genders, different racial identities,
I think
and
it's
I
also a
yeah.
success story though, and it shows what can happen. That the people receiving charity might be the people giving charity in the future, and that
Mm.
those were they're probably more likely to. I experienced it when I had to go to the food bank, and it stuck with me for so long that now I'm so excited that I can be in a position to give back, and I'll be giving more, when the money is there. So I think it's important that we remember those that we are lifting up will be able to lift others up later. So
Yep.
it's keep the cycle alive, and people will pay it forward.
That's so beautiful. And my final question for you, Ned, thank you for that. It means the world to us. And that deeply resonated with me. And if there is someone listening to this right now, and if they are on the fence about donating, or they're hovering over that donate button, they're just not sure yet, what insight, advice, or words of wisdom would you like to impart these individuals with who are tuning in, who are considering making a donation? um Go
I
ahead.
am hopeful. I'm confident and hopeful, at least, that the people who are watching right now have already done that. But in case
Yes.
this person is out there and is hovering over the button, like you say, it's gonna make you feel so good. It's gonna make someone else feel so good. And so if you have to skip something and
Mm.
sacrifice something in order to make the contribution, maybe you can spend that time doing something free, just being outdoors with nature, and the breeze that you feel, the warmth of the sun on your face, is your reminder that you know that someone out there is receiving care or is feeling the love because of the money you gave and the sacrifice that you gave. And if you don't have to sacrifice something and you can just give, even better, because what a position to be in. What a privilege. So just do it.
I am tears. Tears. Can we get a close up on the tears? I'm acting like there are other people in this room. It's not, it's just me. Wow. Wow. That's it. That's it. I have no words. Congratulations. The woman who doesn't shut the hell up has nothing to say. That is amazing, Ned. And it's uplifting. It's inspiring me to make a donation to the Street Dog Coalition, and also to the organizations that I hold near and dear to my heart. And I really appreciate this invitation to maybe skip a something that you usually do, to feel the experience and the joy of giving back to your community, of giving to an individual and to an animal who has often been overlooked, marginalized, and you know, struggling through hardships that more often than not are no fault of their own. So thank you so much, Ned, for your time today, for your wisdom, for your hilariousness, and for the beauty of the words that you have imparted on our listeners. I am still tearing up. That got me, Ned. You got me. You got me good.
I mean, I got myself a little too. I'll admit it.
Yes.
But I mean, it's such an important cause, and I just really
Mm.
appreciate being here and being able to talk about it. I have been looking forward to it for a long time, just because I think it is a good perspective to hear about what happens after you donate and how good it makes you feel,
Yeah.
and it really has. And so, when you reach out to me and the first time and kind of just said thanks, it made me feel so good. Like I know that may sound simplistic, but just you can't beat those kind of feelings. And if you're not chasing that kind of stuff in life, then what's the point?
Man, I'm telling you, I don't know what it is, why I'm like crying like a child right now, but it's so true. It's so true. And I think this lands so deeply with me, because I volunteer at our local animal shelter. I'm at our local wildlife refuge. Like, if there is an opportunity to give back to animals near me, or animals who I've never met before, I take it. And I don't think that I don't think that I often stop and reflect on how good it makes me feel, because at this point in my life, it's just like, yeah, I do it because I do it because it's part of who I am now. So I'm deeply grateful for you. I'm deeply grateful for me. I'm deeply grateful for all of our supporters and our audience here. And yeah, talk about feeling good. I feel real good right now. So thank you, Ned.
Absolutely. Yeah, happy to.
And I look forward to following your business, The Great Escape, and learning more about the expansion that you were briefly mentioning before we went live. And our listeners, our live audience is loving this episode. Trish, again, from the Black Cat Coven Sanctuary, says, well said. Great episode. And I know Trish is also a huge animal advocate and does a lot to help pets and their people as well through the Black Cat Coven Sanctuary. So, Ned, thank you so much. Thanks for making me cry today, Ned. Happy tears.
So happy to. It's been really great. You're wonderful to talk to. It's a
Thank you,
great
Ned.
organization, and I just can't wait to keep working with you in the future.
Aw.
I think I got to go find the checkbook now and make another donation.
Okay, well, bye. But I don't want to hold you up. No, in all seriousness, Ned, I just want to thank you again. It means the world to have your support. It's so exciting to really just put a a face to the name. That's not something that we usually get to do with our donors. And thank you in advance for the future support that you share with our organization and with other organizations. And it's no surprise to me that your business is doing well because you're racking up those good karma points, Ned. We really love you. We really, welcome you with open arms to our Street Dog Coalition family. And yeah, just thank you so much for this beautiful episode. It really was the cherry on
Thank you
top of
so
my
much.
day.
Shannon's
You're
actually
welcome.
going for her first volunteer day on Saturday, so
Oh,
we're super
really?
excited. Yeah, she's getting boots on the ground this weekend. So
Oh, oh, she's gonna love it. She's gonna love it.
I'm gonna
Please,
I'm,
like,
I'm covering her shift at the facility so that she can
oh,
go do it.
really? Oh,
Yeah.
I really hope you shoot me an email and let me know how it goes and what her
Oh, for
experience
sure.
was like. Please, please, please do.
Oh
We
yeah.
are
So excited
I,
to follow up.
absolutely we are friends now. I'm forcing my friendship upon you. Here it is.
Accepted.
Thank you again for your time today, Ned. I'm looking forward to, I'm sure, having you back on the podcast to chat more about our mission and more about what you do for pets and their people. So I hope you enjoy the
Great. I
rest
hope
of
so.
your week.
Will do. Thank you.
Take care. Thanks, Ned.